Welcome to the So Social Radio Show. I'm your host, Richard Martin, along with my amazing co-host,
Cheri Martin, and we are the WCN Interactive Team, your business growth, marketing, and social media strategist, helping you to
dream it, plan it, build it, and most importantly, successfully do it.
You got that right, Richard, for that growth, prosperity, and success. And, of course, each Wednesday here at 12 noon on TalkNetworkRadio.com, we share tips and techniques to grow you and your business, plus demystify social media and marketing for you so that you can have more fun.
And my favorite, more profits.
And those of you that are listening to us today, we are excited that you're with us because I know we have a very exciting show and a very special guest with us right here in the studio in Merritt Island. So I'm just going to give a shout out to Marty Duffy from the Small Business Development Center, and then we'll officially introduce him.
Okay, thank you. Glad to be here.
Yeah, in the rain and all, right?
It was a challenging drive, yes.
It is. Definitely raining hard out there, cats and dogs and everything else. But we are all here today and excited, like I said. I want to make sure that you do like us on social media at the So Social Radio Show. I do have a pinned post there if you have any questions at all today for Marty while we're here. And we have him with us. We'd love to hear any questions you have. So just go to that pinned post on the So Social Radio Show on Facebook and put your questions in the comments. I'll be monitoring it today.
Well, let's talk about our sponsors here for a little bit. They're the people that allow us to be here in actuality. Sorry, Jeff, on that. But I want to start out with Toastmasters, a world leader in communications and leadership development. Find out how you can improve on your speaking and leadership skills. Visit toastmastersd84.org.
And also Constant Contact is one of our partners. They're an award-winning company empowering small businesses and nonprofits to grow and succeed through email marketing. You can be a marketer with their one toolkit, one login. You can also get a 60-day free trial with Constant Contact if you go to bit.ly/WCN free CTCT. And that is bit.ly/WCN free. Yes, I did say free, CTCT, and again, 60-day free trial. Start growing your marketing list today.
And everythingbrevard.com, a Brevard County, Florida community website, keeping you up to date with everything that's happening in Brevard, and get your business listed on everythingbrevard.com.
And if you too would like to be one of our guests or an advertiser or a sponsor of the So Social Radio Show, you can contact me, Cheri, at 321-446-2156. We'd love to have a conversation with you because we would love to also showcase your expertise and help our listeners with other techniques that they can use to grow their business. And that's what we're all about, is education, and that's why we're here today. Also want to just give a shout out. We have a couple of upcoming workshops. One is my Marketing Monday workshop, which is next Monday, February 27th, and it is a free workshop. It's 30 different ways that you can use to grow your marketing list. So it's going to be a packed full hour from 2 to 3 at the Knowledge Exchange. Well, actually, I guess it's the Wild Manta, previously known as the Knowledge Exchange there in Palm Bay. You can go to our WCNinteractive.com page and click on the calendar and get all that information. And again, I know that you'll take away a lot of information that hour to start helping you grow your marketing list. And then, Richard, you have something next Friday, right? The 3rd of March. Gosh, hard to believe it's going to be March.
The 3rd of March, we're doing a business growth mastermind at our home on that Friday. It goes from 9 o'clock in the morning to 3:30 in the afternoon, and it's a very intensive program. It is modeled after the true mastermind that was talked about in Think and Grow Rich. And it's a fun event, and you'll walk away with a whole new vision on your business.
And how can they get a hold of you? I know you have only, 1 or 2 slots available.
I've got 2 slots available, and just give me a call at 321-446-2155.
All right. Well, let's do the official introduction here of Marty and get this conversation rolling, because I learned myself a little bit more about the Small Business Development Center just by reading some of Marty's information. So I'm excited to have him here with us to share, because we've been a tremendous supporter of the Small Business Development Center for a number of years. So we're excited to be able to bring this information to our listeners. But Marty Duffy actually joined the Florida SBDC at Eastern Florida State College as the director after retiring from a 32 career with Xerox Corporation and British Petroleum of America. Prior to becoming the BDC director, he was a counselor and mentor for small Brevard businesses through the SBA's Service Corps of Resourced Executives, which we all know as SCORE, a tremendous program, and was a business adjunct for Eastern Florida State College. And he's currently involved in numerous ongoing activities, including instructing in various financial planning and accounting courses for Webster University, and also supporting the Brevard not-for-profit community as a volunteer, teaching literacy challenged adults to read and write. And we're going to have a little conversation today about, and I'm excited about all the information Marty's going to share on how the Florida Small Business Development Center can actually help the Florida small business community.
Great. Well, thank you.
So, welcome.
Glad to be here.
Well, again, we're just excited that you decided to journey and get into the car and drive north today, as we did. And I'm happy that you made it safely and we're here today. So I guess to get started, I'd love for you to share with our listeners exactly what as we know, the FSBDC is, Florida Small Business Development Center.
Yeah, I'd be glad to. So the Florida Small Business Development Center, it's a state-sanctioned not-for-profit or not-for-profit organization. Every state has one, so we operate under a national umbrella of the SBDC for the country. We're funded by the Small Business Administration, the state of Florida, and then we're hosted and provided additional financial assistance by the resident colleges where we reside. In my case, that's Eastern Florida State. So it's very much a partnership between academic institutions and state and federal government, providing the resources at a very local level for the immediate industries and local communities.
And you service all of Brevard County?
I service all of Brevard County. About 10,000 businesses are here.
Wow.
Small businesses that would be susceptible to receive our services. So that's a little bit about us. We've been in business about 40 years. And there is probably, there's about 1,200 counselors across the country doing what I do. So we're kind of like McDonald's. Every community has one. You just need to reach out.
But you don't serve fries.
We don't serve fries, right? And we don't have any Big Mac specials.
But when you're hungry to
but
get
if you're nice to us, I might bring a Big Mac for you.
And you've been with them now, what, a couple of years?
2.5 years. And before
years?
that, I was with SCORE for 2 years. And my small business background is my family's in the restaurant business. I have a series of restaurants in Brevard County and up in Mount Dora. And they had restaurants were from up in New York. So I married into the restaurant business. I've had some small businesses ourselves, and then I traveled around the world for British Petroleum and for Xerox Corporation. So, with that as background, I did retire, and now it's all about trying to give back to the community, which is why I focus on both not-for-profit and I'm doing my current position. How can you take what you've learned and give it back to the community? And there are many people like us out there, really willing to help out.
And here locally, how large is your staff? I know Tracy and Sandy and you.
Yeah, I like to think of it as an extended team. And actually, I try to get small business owners to think of their staff as extended teams. So under my immediate supervision and work with me closely as teammates, there's 1.5 people. I have a part-time worker, Tracy, then a full-time worker, Sandy, who help me with market research, getting the classes, which we offer mostly free of charge to the community. They work directly with me, but I also network very well with SCORE, with what used to be called the Women's Business Center, now We Venture, Career Source, Patrick Air Force Base, the different chambers, and they provide referrals, and we provide classes, and we work very closely together. So if you could think of from an extended partnership, there are literally close to 100 of us working together to help the small business community. And I try to get small business owners to think about an extensive network that's out there. In addition, I can pull in resources from Orlando, from Tampa, wherever I need across the country to help the business needs of the small business owner if I don't have a particular expertise or industry knowledge that they're looking for.
Oh, that's really good to know. That's definitely providing a great service then for the business here that needs that expert advice that maybe they can't get on the local market.
Yeah, not to mention that you've got a pretty good pricing strategy in the middle of all that too.
Right. There's no, well, Richard, we don't charge.
That's
We
what I'm
don't charge
talking
anybody
about.
for it. We're not for profit. We don't charge. Our success factors are job creation is our core success factor is building the economy and job creation. And along that, we register the hours and consulting services and clients we support as kind of the leading indicators into that. But we don't charge. But I try to tell people there's really no free lunch because you're paying for us through your taxpayer dollars. And so I try to get people to put your taxpayer dollars to work. Use our services. Use the SBA. You are paying for this indirectly. And so you want to get the benefit of this.
Well, yeah, I mean, it makes sense. And, just from a business standpoint, why wouldn't they consult with you? I mean, that's not a question for you to answer,
Right.
but as the business people that are listening, take advantage of what Marty has to offer and his team has to offer up there. And I know they do a number of fantastic workshops, especially the one Cheri and I do.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Well, I can share with you, Richard, in my experience, the three areas that small businesses need help in, and then specifics what we do to help them.
That'd be
Fantastic.
great.
So let me take you
Great.
through each one, and I'll do it in the stack rank priority of how I see it over almost the 5 years I've been here in Brevard and then working with the restaurants
That'd be good.
and the family.
Okay.
Family members tend to ignore my advice, but so we don't use them as a role model.
I got that one right. I totally
So
understand.
number one is in marketing. Really understand the marketing, concept of marketing. Marketing at the heart is an exchange. And then we try to take people and educate the small business owners on the concept of inbound marketing, which is use of digital media, social media, where you guys are expertise and why we use you as a classroom expert. As also the web, how to understand web traffic, how to understand Google Analytics, how to use inbound marketing techniques, and then we counsel them on outbound marketing, which is like this program here. This is an outbound marketing event. It's community engagement. You're reaching out to the market. So
Exactly.
inbound and outbound, and then getting back from the market, understanding primary and secondary research and the importance of that. So anytime you have an engagement with a person, a customer, you try to get information on that customer and keep the dialogue going even past the sales transaction. That's called primary market research. You're reaching directly out and getting information. And then secondary market research, we spend a lot of time on understanding the industry trends, understanding the big picture. And this is actually where we pull reports for clients and tell them about how the industry is doing, what the industry trends are. If they profile their target market, I'll tell them where their target market is, who the decision makers are, the contact names of the decision makers, and how to reach them. So we try to get an exchange on marketing, both inbound and outbound, and primary and secondary research, with the end result being a marketing plan, something that's actionable. And when you said grow and prosper, give them the activities that will cause them to grow and prosper. So a lot on marketing. And you can see that our course offerings at Eastern Florida State at SBDC are very much orientated towards marketing. Your course is social media, video marketing, digital marketing, because that's what the clients need.
Exactly. That's what they're searching for today.
Absolutely.
And it's ever evolving, so they need to stay on top of it.
So you can see I get really engaged on this. I just came from a couple client sessions. The second thing that's really important to clients is financial management. And there's multiple flavors for that. Is based on the needs of your business, where can you get money? We'll look at we'll call it the C's of capital and evaluate people and then show them the path where they can most likely get funding from. Perhaps it's a grant, although that's very hard to get, but a loan or equity or using crowdfunding techniques or using bootstrap, pulling themselves up by the bootstrap. And then if they do have poor credit scores, how to improve their credit scores. And then inside of financial management, looking at their process and making sure they have a sound process that produces the financial reports, which is, of course, is the income statement, the cash flow, and the balance sheet. And once they produce them on a timely and their accurate basis, We teach them how to read them and understand them, and how to see the story in the numbers. And then from that story, how to make decisions that will create wealth for them. And then once they're able to make those decisions, how to forecast the impact and show them how they can build the business valuation and create overall wealth for them. So that's the second thing. And that's, like I said, another rich topic.
It's a very vital part of the business, too.
Yes.
And then the third, since you got me going, is on people management. In fact, the biggest challenge that many small businesses have today is labor, keeping and attracting good people. The unemployment rate is low. I find that the banks are more receptive to loans now than they've been in the past, but conversely, with a stronger economy, it's hard to keep and attract good people. So how do you recruit right? How do you interview right? How do you hire right? How do you manage people the right way and keep them motivated and inspired? And then if things don't work out, if you have to let them go, what's the right way to let them go? So that's another consulting practice. So that's generally the three. And then inside of that, there are things like the right legal forms of a business. There could be special topics, maybe a little bit on tax and legal concerns, although I generally refer them to lawyers and tax accountants on things like that. A lot of one-off things, too, off to the side.
So, but you have the resources that you can then help them tap into if you don't provide that specific consulting there through your center. That's good to know.
Well, one big thing that people come to us is on government contracting. How do I break in the state and local and federal contracts and get that, the biggest procurement of goods and services in the world is the U.S. government. How can I tap into that? There's another person, my counterpart, Patricia Simpson, that supports that. It's called PTAC.
I've met Patricia, yes.
Yeah. And then, of course, there's another one in export marketing, specialized service. So we've got really a rich set of expertise and tools so we can help clients. You mentioned in the beginning, grow and prosper.
Correct.
We've got the tools, the capabilities to help the small businesses grow and prosper.
Well, it sounds like all of the consulting that you provide through the SBDC, I know myself when I started in business back in 1998, I had no clue really how to even run a business. I got on board with this guy here. We weren't even married. And I got on board because I was going to help do the marketing. And I found the SBDC information through one of our local chambers. And I started looking at some of the different workshops. I thought, they offer this information at no charge. I can go in, I can network with other people, learn information that I know that's going to be beneficial to help me grow my business if I want to continue doing this. And I was just amazed at the type of assistance we were receiving when we would go to these different types of workshops. What types of businesses do you find seeks your assistance the most, or that you're working with?
Well, I'll do it in categories. The primary market for us happens to be mostly existing businesses that are in there.
Oh, businesses that are already...
Businesses that started, but they're kind of stuck. They have issues, haven't been able to think through. They don't really know how to grow the business. They're at a level, maybe they're operating a few years or so, but they don't know what steps to take next. Or they've been established, they've been in business 20, 30 years, and they're accustomed to doing things a certain way, and they don't know how to grow it. They're kind of stuck in a pattern, and we try to help them get unstuck and think of new and creative ideas to improve it. That is, we call those SMEs, small, medium enterprises that are already in business. Generally, the clients in that category that come and see us do not have a controller, a financial controller. They don't have a marketing manager, and the owner's been trying to do everything themselves and not doing really well at everything because, it's very hard to do everything yourself. And so we try to get them to work on the business and not in the business and then look at the big picture and draw them out. And we act as a sounding board and give them activities and provide them with information and coach them along the way. That's one. The second would be what we'll call pre-venture and startups, people just getting going. And since I'm at the college, I'll get college students. Or when we teach at Patrick Air Force Base, we'll get transitioning military veterans. And quite a bit of clients are transitioning military veterans from Patrick Air Force Base and the surrounding community. And then third, career source, with people who have been downsized, lost their jobs, and need to create an income source. We'll help those people. And in that case, we try to just provide a lot of education in the areas I mentioned earlier. Here's what you need to do to get started. And we'll try to keep it very simplistic and say, okay, here's the 4 things you need to do. Here's how you register your business and legally set it up. And then here's how you might approach the market and find your sweet spot and then approach it and then penetrate that market. And here's information on competition. And here's information about how much you can be expected to make based on this industry and this market and this location. So it's not, we take away a lot of the guesswork for them. And we try to focus on research, planning, and taking calculated risk versus trial and error and hoping for the best.
Sounds like a plan. Right then. And I know that we both had the pleasure of meeting Michael E. Gerber at a conference we're at in Orlando, who wrote the E-Myth Revisited. And I know in his concept of the book, he talks about how so many people start businesses because they are passionate about what they enjoy doing, but they don't understand all the other components of a business. So I can see the SBDC actually assisting with helping an individual that has a passion that either they're starting or they're in an existing business where they realize, okay, they're great at what they do, but they're neglecting all those other forms of their business. So do you have a process when they come to consult with you to help them see the big picture?
Yeah, generally a typical consulting engagement, the first one, well, first, if they're coming out blue and they haven't started a company, we ask them to take a business startup class.
Okay.
That the former chair of SCORE teaches for us, Larry Smith. He does an excellent job. So we'll have them take the class. After the class, they'd have a 1-hour consulting engagement with me. I'll have looked at their history. I'll have done preparation work. I'll look at their use of social media. If they have a website, I'll try to find out everything I can with the individual. And both from the class attendance and from my own preparation, I'll have a foundation, have a conversation with them. From there, I'll listen to them. I'll ask questions. We call it Socratic questioning. I'll ask questions and drill information from them. And then I'll take them through a business model concept to see where they're strong and where they're weak. And it'll be marketing, finance, and people management. I'll try to understand their vision and their goals, personal goals and objectives within that vision, and then build into an activity plan when they leave. They'll always leave with homework. Generally, they'll leave with homework, and I'll leave with some research, follow-up research. I'll send them the research. I'll expect that they do the homework. Then they can come back. Then we can have another discussion. And we can meet every week, every month. Some people call me every day for help.
Wow.
As long as they want. And they can use the resource, and there's no charge for it. Generally, what will happen is I give them the homework, and sometimes it's the dog ate my homework, and they don't come back for a while. But we work to the owner's pace. They don't work to our pace. We'll work to their pace.
Okay. Well, it's their dream. It's their drive. Right. They have to be willing to do the work. I mean, Richard does a lot of consulting and coaching. He does the same thing with our clients. You know, they have to be willing to do the work if they want to see the success. So
no, it's absolutely, and you can only move as fast as they're willing to move.
Right. Exactly on that. Right.
And the willingness of, are you doing the homework that you left for them? Are you doing the reading? Are you setting things up and so on and so forth?
An example, many of them come, but many of them an entrepreneur wants to do things. They're not a person that's going to analyze and sit at a computer. They want to do. They want to take action and make things happen. And generally what I find is they have very strong operational knowledge and a passion for their product or service they're offering. They have a very strong passion for it and have an operational sense of what they need to do. But they do miss the marketing. You can't start a business and just expect customers to show up.
That's all right.
You have to acquire those customers. So that concept is a little missing. And the concept of doing market research to do it correctly is missing. Then in financial management, it's very common that a knowledge of the income statement, the balance sheet, and the cash flow statement is missing. And so when I go through and do the questioning, I'll find their areas of weakness, and then we'll help them. Or if they need to get employees, and I'll have a job description, where's the most likely source for the employees? I said sometimes I'll tell them to go to Brevard Achievement Center. Sometimes it's Career Source. Sometimes it's Patrick Air Force Base. Sometimes it's FIT or Eastern Florida State. Sometimes it's Use Digital, going to Career Builder or something like that to get there. But a lot depends. But, we'll go through it. I'll find out just by asking questions and getting their background and doing preparatory work before the meeting.
Oh, and it obviously shows you're a pro at what you do. You've obviously been there doing it for a long time now across the board. But, it still is beneficial for somebody to come just have a conversation with you about their business, because we're coming out of a not bad economic time, but a slow economic time. And all the indicators right now looks like we're going to be able to speed up over the next year. Well, that's a major shift in what your planning process is coming on. This is all going to be industry dependent.
Yeah.
But those are good topics to come in and spend a few minutes with you.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you brought that up because we try to get people not to look in the rearview mirror when planning the business, but forward thinking.
Very good.
And said, when you look at Brevard County, what's happening here? Brevard County, you have the economic development at Port Canaveral. You have the Melbourne Airport with the economic development that's taken place and all the industries here. Property values in some location are rising double digits on an annual basis. You see a significant drop in the unemployment rate. You have disposable income increasing. And it is a very much the record number of tourists coming through Orlando Airport last year. So you have a tailwind. You're not facing a headwind right now. You have a tailwind. And how do you leverage the tailwind to capture that growth? And then how do you look at it, too? I mean, you could be an industry that's growing phenomenally, and you're going maybe single digits. You're actually losing market share.
There you go.
Or you could be flatline, and you're in a declining industry, perhaps, say, like the printing industry. I came from a copier and printing company, Xerox, and they are seeing a declining, consistent decline because how much printed output is coming out. You could still make money, but if you hold your own in a declining market, you've actually grabbed market share. Yeah. We try to get that outside perspective and trends into their thought process.
I mean, that was a great way to say that. But when it's coming down, but economic times are changing. Now, whether they ultimately go up or stay stagnant or go down, but you got to have a plan for each of the three.
Right. And you have to have a contingency plan. There's always a plan B. Plan A doesn't work. What's your second option? What's your third option? What are you going to do? How are you going to be fast on your feet?
Yeah.
What kind of support network do you have? Famous thing, it takes a village to raise a child, but it takes a village to create a company. You need a strong support network.
It really does. And I know myself, I've seen in the trend in the industry that we're in, from when we started in 1998 with the web agency then we had an IT company, then we went into a full marketing agency where we were actually very much involved in the builder industry. We saw what happened in 2008. So we have had to make changes throughout the many years we've been in business. So one of the books that I actually pick up every January 1st, I actually pull out my Who Moved My Cheese by Spencer Johnson.
Yeah, I read that. That's a great book. Yeah.
It is. It's just a short read. You can read it in an hour, but it really helps you look at how change is always happening and how we have to be ever growing. In order to continue ever growing, we have to adapt and be ready for the change and make sure that we're not just, as they say, staying and waiting for the cheese.
Yeah. So an example I use to the change. I mean, I could talk about industry trends like 3D printing, artificial intelligence, drones, et cetera. But an example of the change, they'll come in and they'll say, I got this tough question. I'm looking for an answer. What I'll do is I'll pull out my smartphone on my ALO app, which is the Google Intelligent Assistant app, which is free. You can pull it from Google Play. And I'll take them. I'll say, well, let's ask the question in this. And it's amazing how good the answers are.
That's cool.
And, so that's technology. Period. You don't have to go to your local library, make copies, highlight articles, and have them typed anymore, right? That was 40 years ago.
That is
now
so
you
cool.
can use your smartphone as an aid and tool in doing research and also reaching out to people.
So if someone that's listening, and we're going to have our podcast up here later today, and they're listening to this on the replay, how can they contact you in the Florida, the FSBDC, and start engaging with you to come in and get some assistance if they want to, or find out about the classes, and what type of classes are you offering right now?
Well, the easiest way is, did I mention the Google Assistant? No, but the easiest way is for us, it's you go to Eastern Florida State, SBDC at Eastern Florida State. You just Google that. You're going to come up. and it'll take you right to our landing page, which will have where our classes are and our consulting services. Now, we service Brevard. If someone comes to us from outside of Brevard, then we would probably refer them to the local SBDC.
The area they're from. Okay.
Or they could just do in their local area. They could go to the SBDC website and look in their local area. I think you enter your zip code, and it's going to take you to who the area rep would be.
Okay. That's good to know. And I know you guys have a Facebook page here, too. I know that there's a lot of great information there. So if you're on Facebook, and go to the So Social Radio Show, I do have a link from your information. Again, there's a top pin post there, and you can click on their Facebook page, and from there they have a link directly to the website. So, which then you do provide a lot of the different workshops and such. Mm-hmm. So, what are some of the things that are coming up? Do you know of classes that you're teaching? I know you have some ongoing classes all the time, and you don't just teach them at the Melbourne campus. You go throughout the whole Brevard County area?
We'll go to Cocoa and occasionally Chamber of Commerce's, both Titusville, we've had a class up there, a couple classes, Melbourne Chamber of Commerce as well. So we'll go out there. If we have enough people to support a class, and in fact, some cases we've done it with We Ventures, Women's Business Center as well. Typical classes coming up, we'll have classes on market research coming up, which is really important, one of our popular classes. I teach that with another small business owner, and we'll teach it together. So he brings the relevancy of the small business, what he went through, and I bring kind of the overall consulting perspective. That's coming up in March. We have a risk management class, which happened to be our most popular class 2 days before Hurricane Matthew hit. So our disaster planning class was on overflow basis with the eye of the hurricane a few hundred miles offshore.
I think you did one at the Small Business Council meeting at the Melbourne Regional Chamber.
I did. At the Chamber. That was a very popular one. I'll probably do it in March, and nobody will attend because the skies are sunny.
Everybody's panicking.
It just shows you a lot of classes and information is very much top of mind for the small business owner.
Definitely.
They're locked into the business, and you've got to give them top of mind discussions. That's going to attract them.
Well, the more relevant you can make it, which is top of mind, the more they're going to believe what you're saying, the more they're going to come back for more counseling, the more effort they're going to put into building their business on putting that together. How long does it normally take to get an appointment with either you or a member of your team?
It'll take a couple of weeks, usually a couple of weeks out. If they need something very immediate, they can send an email or a phone call, and they might have a specific question that needs to be immediately addressed. With the registration, we'll address it. It happens a lot, and then we'll have a follow-up meeting. So that can happen quickly. The follow-up meeting will take about 2 weeks to get on the calendar, roughly right. And I try to keep the calendar so I can give the people enough time that I could prepare for the session and then send them follow-up work from the session. So usually I don't have back-to-back consulting meetings. So I try to make sure I build client relationships. Right. And I build it by providing with the information on a very timely basis and keeping in touch with them as needed.
And you mentioned that those businesses that are really seeking some great assistance from you, you don't really have a time frame. I mean, as far as when they come in and want to work with you, they're pretty much, if they want to continue working with you for a few months, do you help them put marketing plans together? Or do you actually assist them and consult with them where they're doing the work?
Well, a little bit. I will provide information. So the secondary research we actually will conduct. Doing some financial assessments, QuickBooks consulting we'll actually do. Many clients have QuickBooks. I'll take their file and go through it and read it and help them for it.
Oh, wow.
A lot of it, though, is the teach the kid the fish concept. I will teach them, instruct them, give them the tools, the templates they need, the information, walk them through it, and then critique what they have coming back. But I really want them to do it. Perfect example would be a business plan. I will take them through what is really important for the business plan, and usually I advocate starting with the marketing section and the customer in view first, and then building it from there.
I like that, yeah.
And then I'll teach them, I'll take them through, and I'll give them an example of a business plan in their industry and show them the data and the specificity that's in it. Then I'll give them a tool and research information and then ask them to go do it because I want them to be educated. They need to be the world's expert on their business. No one can know more about their business than they do. Mm-hmm. And then when they'll send me back the business plan, I'll critique it, show them what's right, what they may need to improve, what they really did well at, etc. But, kind of to teach the kid to fish and coach them along the way. Mm-hmm. I won't ever write anyone's business plan for them because I think I'm doing actually a disservice for them. Then it's my plan. It's not really theirs.
I like that.
And if someone asks them a question, sure, you'd say, well, go talk to the SBDC. Is that a good answer?
No, because if you're personally involved, you have a stake in it. You're going to know more than just reading a business plan and say, okay, well, this month I'm supposed to do this much revenue, and my labor cost is supposed to be this much and that much, and marketing's here and there. But when it's, I guess, inculcated into your being,
right?
You live it and breathe it every day, and it allows you to maneuver with whatever situation is placed in front of you.
Exactly right. And there's a greater chance that they'll keep it updated as well, because a business plan is obsolete as soon as it comes off the printer.
Isn't that the truth?
With the way information changes. And so the purpose of the business plan, there's always going to be an equity investor or a loan officer who will request it, but the real purpose of it is educate the business owner. What they know, what they don't know, and information to build it and have a logical flow to it. And then something they have in their mind when they're making decisions, the impact. If I have a business plan, I know the impact of my marketing activities on the revenue. And I know from that customer activity what kind of size cost structure I need to have. And you're thinking that way. Mm-hmm. You have an integrated systems-like thinking. Mm-hmm. If you don't approach with the business plan, you see things as a lot of side-off activities in isolation.
And the priority is never there because it is that one-off type of a situation. Well, and that gets into the get to it pile,
right?
Which is a never-ending process,
which gets lost. And there's always a customer-employee issue that's the top of the mind of the day, and urgency. The firefighting that has to be done immediately, and it's just constant firefighting. And never get to the strategic, longer-term view, which really builds your business valuation.
You brought up to me an extremely interesting point. When you're dealing with a solopreneur or a very small partnership, how do you know when you're at that strategic point that it's time to bring on more staff or an extra person in a micro business like that? Are there typical scenarios that happen in the management process that you need to keep an eye out for? Or?
Well, one on a metric,
I know
there's actually a number of ways to approach it. One metric is sales per employee, comparing that to the industry and to the benchmarks. So if I looked at a manufacturing company, I might see they need to have $200,000 sales per employee. And if you find a company's coming in that's consistently above the $200,000 sales per employee for a particular industry, I'm using this as an example, and they're facing constant overtime and the customer backlog is there, well, they're obviously going to need to hire people. They're going to need to increase their fixed cost. They're going to need to increase their infrastructure. It's called the relevant range. They're going to need to address the relevant range of their infrastructure and take it up a notch, which most likely would mean labor, or conversely, automation, labor-saving devices, and efficiency improvements.
Yeah, the yin and the yang on labor. It's a tough situation to deal with, especially from the personal perspective.
Well, that's a good question. That's a typical question. And then the corollary, what's the right labor cost? What should I be paying people? And then we'll help them with, and in the Bureau of Labor Economic Analysis, we'll go to a U.S. website and show them for this area, show them the typical wages. And you need to be on top of it because the wages are a lot different than they were 3 years ago.
Oh, yes.
In fact, I don't know of anybody who's really paying minimum wage anymore. The minimum wage is kind of an artifact.
It really is.
No, mainly back in my age when I got started working, minimum wage was $1 an hour, so I'll date myself really good there. But, it was for us teenagers, college students, to get the first job, the first experience at being accountable and being held to a system that we were working within on that. And, it was good for the purpose it served. It got me some business experience. I learned how to deal with other associates that worked in the business. I learned how to deal with management all through that whole process in high school and college and doing that, working full-time and part-time jobs. So yeah, it was extremely valuable to me, and I'm glad you put it that way.
Had a different purpose then. And now
Yeah,
businesses are. Yeah, I know that when we started our business, we brought on, with our web design company, we actually brought on students that were going to Kaiser College. And I know a number of businesses that would bring them on pro bono, but we insisted on paying them. I think we paid them $8 an hour, which was above minimum wage then. But we wanted them to be accountable and to feel that responsibility that they were actually contributing and helping grow the company. We had a whole different premise behind it. And then a few of them, after they graduated, we brought them on, full time and doubled their wage. So again, they were able to be a contributor to the growth of the company and feel more accountable, and also have, I guess they were more. What's the word I'm looking for? They felt they were really a part of the family, so to speak, with our business. And at that time, we were actually started our business in our home, so they were coming into my home, my condo.
If there was one advice to leave the small business owners now, as I see it, is really pay attention to that the concept of the national immigration policy with respect to minimum wage and the labor situation in the United States. Because if the economy continues to grow from a labor perspective right now, continues to grow and, in fact, is stimulated for growth, and there is a more restrictive immigration policy, that's going to be a tremendous pressure on the wage situation.
And these are questions that you can help them, and if they have and they need to address those, you can help them with those as well. Now, do you ever, when a company comes to you that is really feeling that they're like stuck, and perhaps they need to have more knowledge on how to price their products and services so that they are staying within, what the other their competitors in the area are, and because I know a lot of people in other areas of the country charge a lot more than we do because they live in a different area. So do you find businesses coming and talking to you about that as well?
Yeah, pricing is a big topic. I mean, the whole concept is understand your value proposition with respect to pricing.
True.
Know that what you're pricing is a diamond and not a rock. Understand your pricing level. So we'll take them through pricing strategies and pricing models. And actually, I'll bring into line an SBA course. SBA has a great course on pricing. It's a 30-minute course, a video course, and with corresponding printed material and models that they can follow. So generally, I'll have somebody educate themselves a little bit on pricing, then we'll come back and we'll look at pricing. And usually I'll factor in a competitive analysis when doing the pricing.
Oh, very good.
I'll analyze the competition, and I'll look at the competition's margins and everything we know about that, and we'll bring that into the pricing discussion. And then we'll want them to look at their point-of-sale system, whatever, and their products, their product offering, what is fast-moving, what is slow-moving, et cetera, because that should come into the pricing discussion. Then we'll try to decide where they have pricing power or where they don't have pricing power, where they have the ability to raise prices and what level they should raise it, and where they may even have to cut prices. So a lot goes into it. That's kind of a model, more of a model that you have to do, a strategy with a supporting model.
And you've contributed to our listeners so much different information. So I just want to reiterate where they can get in touch with you, and where they can find out what upcoming classes that are out there and where they're going. And I know you have an actual website. It's easternflorida.edu/go/SBDC. And I believe if they pull that up online, you'll actually go to your webpage here in the Brevard County area.
That's correct. It'll go to our landing page. They'll see a picture of me. They'll have. We try to edit it out. I photoshopped it, so I'm 30 years younger. I'm on a surfboard. No, just kidding. But they'll see a picture. They'll find success stories, so they can see what we've done for other clients. They'll see our classes. They'll see a little video that talks about the SBDC, and then they'll have an area to the lower right-hand side where they can engage us for consulting.
Yep, it's got a lot of great information here. So definitely, I will post this actual link on the So Social Radio Show. I do have it already on the WCN Interactive So Social Radio Show page, so they can go to WCNinteractive.com and click on So Social Radio Show on the guest, and a lot of great information to find out more about Marty. And all that I didn't even barely even read his bio. It's a great bio. I learned a lot about him when I gathered all this information. And again, I know it's an asset to our community that the SBDC is here. And for those businesses that were not aware of it, they definitely need to tap into this resource. It is one of the best resources here for small businesses. And I love the fact that you're going to be collaborating with all the other resources here. That is very good news for me as a business person who has used many of them or have volunteered with a number of those organizations. I know we're active with SCORE. Rich is actually a SCORE mentor. And I am working with them on their small business.
Great. A wonderful group of people.
Fest.
I did it for nothing but compliments for them. Maybe do it on a volunteer basis.
Yeah.
I mean, my hat is off to them. They're wonderful people.
Yep.
In fact, all wonderful. SBA, the Women's Business Center, We Venture.
Yeah.
Tremendous resources. Career Source, there's tremendous resources out there in the community. And I really encourage, a lot of people say, well, which one should I go to? My answer is, it doesn't matter. Go to them and engage them and start working with them. And generally, there'll be cross referrals to each of us. But
I
reach
love
out
that.
and engage. Everybody works for you, for the small business owner.
I love that. That's good to know.
You got to take action.
Right.
Nothing happens, but first you take an action. Once you do something, you can adapt and improvise.
Right.
But, get on the phone, call one of them. It doesn't matter, like Marty was just saying. Call one of them for help. Get on the schedule because it won't be tomorrow that you're going to get there. So the sooner that you jump on it, the sooner that you make the call, the sooner you're going to have the appointment and you're going to be able to figure out how to take the next step and grow yourself and grow your business.
Can't say it any better than that. I know myself that, we all get stuck. We've been in business basically since 1998. We have evolved and made we've had to adapt to a lot of changes as I was, sharing with you earlier, but we always are staying on top of what that next trend is within our industry. And one of the things we have really tapped into, we have always invested in ourselves. And I always share that with people, not to boast or anything, but to really help them understand the importance of investing, maybe not always monetary, but their time and being able to tap into these resources here. That's going to take time, but it's going to be taking time that they're definitely going to be able to have it help with the growth of their business. And then who knows where they can go. So to me, it's all about, just, as you say, taking action.
Yeah, it is. Who did you learn social media from?
Well, I know I invested in some really good, a lot of instructors.
You learned with Mari.
Mari Smith,
Yeah.
We actually invested and went out to her immersion.
And then Microsoft or Facebook hired her to teach their classes.
Yeah,
Oh, really?
She travels around the
yeah.
world for
And
them
she
now. Yeah.
travels around the world speaking.
Mari Smith, she's
speaking
phenomenal.
for them all along.
She's written a lot of great books.
Absolutely so. But it wasn't. Well, just the travel tickets to get out
San
to San
Diego.
Diego and back were ridiculous enough as it was. But
Yeah.
that started your move as being the social media queen that you are today.
Now you're so sweet. But I do.
But it's that investment, and it's being vulnerable, not to the world, but to yourself, and saying, okay, if I want to climb and scratch and get to that next step, I have to take action. And better than going to San Diego, you've got the local SBDC here ready to
That's
help
right.
you now.
I cannot impress upon them enough that all of our listeners today, all small businesses that really want to take their business to the next level, invest in some time and contact your local SBDC, those that are listening here locally, here in Brevard, and you're all over the nation.
Right. And prepare yourself to do some homework.
Definitely. Homework is good.
That dirty four-letter word just keeps coming back. Work.
And we are down to less than a minute, so we just want to, again, Marty, thank you for coming out in the rain and joining us in the studio.
You're more than welcome.
We wanted to have you here a number of times, so we're happy that you're here today. And again, this podcast will be up for our listeners, and we'll get that link out for everybody. Get to you too, Marty. But we want to make sure everyone knows that they can listen and tune into the So Social Radio Show every Wednesday, right here on TalkNetworkRadio.com, 12 noon. And Richard, any last words before we sign off?
really take to heart what Marty was saying here today and just really think about it. Nothing happens but first you take an action. So while you're out there today, call them up, read a book, do something, but most of all, make it a profitable week.
Bye-bye.